Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarashi Sarvada. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sarvamangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanyatrambake Devi Narayani Namostute Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche Swaha Durge Durge Rakshini Tata Swaha. Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Hanuman Ji Maharaj ki jai. Dharma ki jai ho, adharma ka nash ho, praniyon mein sadbhavna ho, vishwa ka kalyan ho. Namah Parvati Pate Har Har Mahadeva Har. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 28th of July 2025. We are continuing the rest of this month as well as probably further. We'll be going further probably until the end of this year into this Prem-Lakshana Bhakti. There's so much fantastic stuff that is worthy of contemplation. First of all, I want to offer my Anantakoti, Danvat Pranam, Namaskaram, Pradikshana, an infinite number of divine flowers offered at the feet of the Lord, feet of God, feet of all the great sages, and to all the devotees. With that bhavana, we are continuing to examine the glory of Prema Bhakti, Prem-Lakshana Bhakti, as it is described in Narad Bhakta Sutra and also described in the Satsangi Jivan by Shatanand Mahamuni. So to understand this in detail, we are looking at the Gaudiya Vaishnav theories and philosophies regarding this with regards to the exposition of the various Acharyas and Goswamis, and then doing an exposition on those ideas even further. So to continue from yesterday, we have been examining these three concepts of Sandhini Shakti, Samvit Shakti, and Haladini Shakti. Today, we will examine a bit further the Nitya Vraj Bhumi. What exactly is this? So I'm going to read this paragraph and then we will then try to contemplate on that carefully. Within the Vaishnava metaphysics, the Gaudiya Vaishnava metaphysics particularly, Sandhini Shakti is the existential potency that sustains spiritual being and operates as the primordial architect of Nitya Vraj Bhumi, the eternal manifested realm of Vraja. Unlike terrestrial geography, this landscape is composed of Chid Dravya, Cid-Dravya, which is conscious substance that is self-luminous, self-delighting, and perpetually responsive to the emotional cadence of Sri Krishna. Here, every structural element, earth, sky, flora, and fauna, F-A-U-N-A, shares in the Lord's ontological status without collapsing into identity with Him, exemplifying the principle of Achinta Bheda Bhed, inconceivable simultaneous oneness and difference. We will look at this paragraph today, one step at a time. So, first of all, by the grace of Radhika ji, this can be talked about and be understood. These are extremely metaphysical, high-level ideas, and we want to be very careful in our trying to unravel them. And again, Sachin is just doing this based on whatever is the will of God and whatever buddhi He has given to us. This is transcendental. It cannot even be spoken of, really, not 100%. Ek anubhav ki baat hai. But anyway, first of all, what does Gaudiya metaphysics mean? Let's look at those two initial words. So first of all, that means the system of realization, the paths shown to open the metaphysical domain. It should be, I know this is a little bit difficult. See, let's put it this way. When a sadhak is starting the process of bhakti, the 9 forms of bhakti, with Jnana, with Vairagya, with Dharma, with so many other connecting points, there is the evolution of the antakarana, the mental reality, further out of the binding of of Maya. So the Sattva gun, Rajogun, Tamogun, which are binding the Jivatma into the vortex of the Brahmand. It is the cyclical process of the Brahmand. The Jivatma, we can call that Ishvara, or within that Ishvara. See, Ishvaraha sarvabhutanam rudde shredajina tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudhani maya. That the entire creation is revolving around the Atma Tattva, Paramatma Tattva. First of all, that needs to be very clear. You see, before even that paragraph we read can even be touched upon, this needs to be clear, that how the Jivatma is connected to the material energy. And then the path into the metaphysical dimension beyond the material energy. So I'll give you some simple examples. Some of you may have heard me say this before, but it doesn't matter. You can listen to it again. It's very interesting. For example, Sachin is sitting here right now in this chair. Right now it is 8:17 a.m. to 28th of July. That's the time. That is the calendar time. There's also psychological time. I'm sitting here right now. I get up, let's say, and I walk 500 feet east from where I am. Let's say I get up, I go out of the house, or I walk 1 mile east, right? Did I actually walk, meaning did the Atma go from point A to point B 1 mile east? Is that what happened? No. That is not what happened. I know this is difficult to imagine this, but that's not what happened. The Atma doesn't go anywhere. There's no coming or going within time, space, causality for the Atma. The Atma is the Sakshi, the witnessing Brahman, the witnessing consciousness. It doesn't go anywhere. There's no coming, going. All of these experiences of coming, going, just take the simple example. I get up, this body gets up and then goes 1 mile east. Did the Atma go from point A to point B? No. What happened actually? That the entire brain, mind, body complex plus the entire universe, infinite universes, have revolved around the Atma to give the Jivatma this experience that I am walking from one place to another. I hope this is clear. This is difficult to understand. There is absolutely no coming or going for the Atma. That's why the Rishis in ancient Vedic times, Upanishadic times, and even today in Parampara, those who are completely evolved, there's no going or coming. In the satsang, in Swaminarayan satsang, we say this all the time. Ava javanu kai retu nathi. There's no coming and going. In the enlightened state, there's absolutely no coming and going. Although there is activity, although we are using the body is going different places, experiences change, everything is going on as usual. But for the Atman, one who is a Atmagnani, Brahmagnani, जिसको आत्मा का ज्ञान हो गया है, उसको ज्ञान है कि ये अवस्था का अनुभव है. It is an experience of the avastha, the state, the jagrat avastha, the waking state. Who is experiencing the Atma Tattva? And it is Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani. It is an experience created by Ishvara, by Parabrahman, by Paramatma, for the Jivatma, in the Jivatma, as a projection. That is the inferior material energy. That is the Bahiranga Shakti. This is again Sachin's interconnected interpretation. Would love to hear from anybody who has some other perspectives on this, so I can also learn more about this. It's very interesting. Yes, go ahead, please. Yes.
So Atma resides inside the physical body, right?
Well, that's not really true. It seems like that from our physical point of view, we feel that the Atman is like subtly hidden. We are using that language that way. Even in Shikshapatri it is written like that. Maharaj said that the Jivatma is in the Hridaya Akash. It's very subtle and all that. That is a way for our mind to conceptualize it, but that's not ontologically correct. It's relatively correct based on where we are. Actually, it's not that the Atman is inside the body. The body is a projection around the Atma. The physical body, the subtle body, the causal body, and the Brahmand, it's all a projection. That's what Advait Vedanta teaches, that it is there's words, there's technical words for that, and there's a lot of, it's called Avran Shakti and all that. These are projections of the Mahamaya. Mahamaya is covering the reality of who you are. So it's not that the Atman exists in the body. That's not really true. And in fact, it's not. It seems like that. From where we are, we can say that. But in reality, bodies come and go. Like this body is here right now. So when this body goes away, is it that the Atma goes somewhere? Atma doesn't go anywhere. New experience, new body is generated around the Atma. The Atma is Achalam, Dhruvam, Nityam, Shashvatam. You see, so these are the Vedantic terminologies for the Atma Tattva. There's no coming or going. When a yogi, through Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, any yoga, realizes the Atman, that Soham Chidananda Rupam, there's no coming or going anymore. Okay, so now,
why is it said that we have to seek inside?
Because that is a mental phenomena. Because we have mind. Yes, seeking inside is a type of meditation where we are concentrating the mind, purifying the mind. We are researching within ourselves. Yes, absolutely. That is called Sanshodhan. That is called research. It is a research into only who you are. You see, so that is a transition from Namah Shivaya to Shivoham. Wo transition hai. Right, so when we begin the process of sadhana, Om Namah Shivaya, Upasana Marg, Sadhana Marg, when we continue on that path step by step, our mental framework resonates in bhakti and in absorption in God. What happens eventually is that leads to dhyan. It leads to dhyan where our manovritti begins to dive back into its origin source, that is the Atma Tattva. And then when the Atma is realized as a self-effulgent Nitya Tattva, then there is no coming or going. There's no sense that I am this body. This body is just there. It's a cover. It's a process that's not me at all. That is called Paramahansa level. When a Paramahansa is one who has been able to recognize that the Atma is completely separate and different from the Panchakosha and the three bodies. Right? The three bodies, another way to describe three bodies is Panchakosha. It is separate from that. And so while living as a Jivan Mukta, like Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he has a body. Let's take him as an example. It's a great question. He has a body, but he's not limited to that sense that I am this body. No, in fact, when the Brahman is realized, when it's realized who you really are, all bodies are mine. Everything is within me. This is the Advaitic teaching. The Advaitic realization that everything is within me, not the ego or the individual body, within the me, the Aham Brahmasmi. So that is a realization through bhakti also. What we're talking about right now, about this Sandhini Shakti, is even beyond that Brahmic realization. So there are two ways to look at bhakti. From an Advaitic point of view, bhakti is a doorway into Advaitic non-dual realization. Shankaracharya ji, Gaudapadacharya ji, Govindapadacharya ji, and many other saints and sages have talked about bhakti as a doorway into that realization, and the Bhagavad Gita can be interpreted that way as per Shankaracharya ji's commentary. Yes, definitely. But the Vaishnavacharyas, the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara is what we're looking at specifically, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji specifically would say, no, that Advaitic realization is just the very beginning of the realization. That I am Brahman, everything is me, everything is one. If that is the effulgence, it is called the Brahman effulgence coming from Golok Dham. So let's clarify this a bit further. Let's use the example of the sun. Let's just use the example of the sun, right? I want to go slowly. It's a great question. The sun is emitting photons, isn't it? We know this from science. What is this sunlight made out of? Photonic energy. Photon is a quantity of it. There's a quantity there. So this is an analogy. No analogy is perfect. Similarly, the Jivatma, how many are there? Jivatma are Ananta Koti, infinite. Ananta Koti Jivatma. Who created them? Well, as per Vishishtadvaita, as I'm talking about now in the Vaishnava theory, that nobody has created them. They are monadic particles, essentially. They are the same substance as Paramatma, as Bhagavan, but they are within the influence of Maya. Now, when we say Maya, what is this Maya? That is a certain power. It is a certain kind of special Shakti of Paramatma. The way the Vaishnava Acharya is described it is Bahiranga Shakti. Bhagavan ki Bahiranga Shakti hai. So let's look at it now this way. When we continue in Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, hamari sadhana chal rahi hai. And if we evolve into that Shuddha Sattva Gun, and by grace, by asking for Krupa, that breakage occurs out of the Sattva Gun, immediately the Brahman realization begins to open. That is the first thing that happens. That you're sitting in Dhyan or going wherever, you see this world in Jagrata Avastha, see the world in Swapna Avastha, the Shushupti Avastha bhi, but not like it is anymore. It is called the liberation from the entanglement and engulfment in the three avasthas. One is freed. It is called Jivan Mukta Sthiti. It was Sthiti hai. You understand? Sthiti means it's realization. It is awakening within the Jagrat Avastha. That's what the shloka says in the Gita. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati bhutani. So we are awake. Like we're awake right now. Why are we doing satsang every day like this? All of you are coming on board. Why? Because we want to awake out of the waking state. I hope that makes sense. Listen to the language carefully. It is awakening out of the Jagrat Avastha. Into what? Into Brahman. These are the 6 Mahavakyas of the Upanishad. The 6 Mahavakyas of the Upanishad are Tattvamasi, thou art that. I am Atma Brahma. Who I am actually is the same Brahman. That's that Brahman effulgence that the Vaishnava Acharyas are talking about. Shankaracharya doesn't use the word Brahman. He just says non-dual Brahman, one without a second. He ends it right there. He doesn't talk about these abodes, or he might consider those abodes as within the Shakti of Brahman. What's another more advanced subject? We have to go very carefully, slowly. When we awaken in the waking state, that means what? Let's be clear what that means. That all 64 saintly qualities are at their fullest level. Bhagwan na santana 64 lakshan paripakva avasthama pochi gaya chhe. Please do ask these kinds of questions, because that will help me also to kind of guide the discussion. See what is needed even before that Brahman realization comes about. To awaken out of the Jagrat Avastha, completely awaken, the entire brain function changes. Because Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Matsar, Sab Dosh, Shad, all those things, they vanish. They're gone. So the Shakti inside, the Kundalini Shakti, it reaches its highest purified form. That Shakti then opens that doorway into the chakras, and the chakras are experienced in yogic meditation. और वो चक्र का जो सब लाइट है, वो जो प्रकाश है, चक्र का जो प्रकाश है, there are 9 chakras. नवचक्रांगाय नमः, भगवान शंकर का एक नाम है. They are lit by the light of the Atma. Bhagwan Swaminarayan has explained this beautifully in Vedas. They are lit. They are not your physical. You cannot do dissection physiologically to find the chakras. No. As even psychology doesn't know. They're just beginning to maybe see some of those things. There are nadis, 72,000 nadis. There's Ida nadi, Shushmana nadi, Pingala nadi. Sab alokik baat hai sabe. They are connectors into the Brahmand and out of the Brahmand. But even all of that is only still an external phenomena compared to the Atma Tattva that is experiencing all of that. Even if a yogi goes into Samadhi and goes into Chandralok, Suryalok, other places, those are all experiences around the Atma. अद्भुत बात है ये सब. So वो जो आत्म तत्व है, the Atman is realized as itself, is no longer in the modality of Jivatma. It is awakened out of the entangled state as a Jiva into the state of Shiva. So when it is awakened into the state of Shiva, that is the beautiful mantra Shivoham, Soham, Shivoham, Soham. As a mantra we can do, but wo ek sthiti hai. So we are awakened in the Jagrat Avastha completely. The Jagrat Avastha for most human being is what kind? What kind is it? There's fear, there's anger, there's all kinds of divisiveness. There's diversity of the experience. Yes, that experience remains. The diversity of the names and forms remains. This is what Vedanta teaches us. Nam, Rup, Akar. The names and forms remain. But Brahma Drishti aisi hoti hai, we can see the yogi, the Brahmagnani, jisko Brahmagnani kehte hai, that Brahmagnani is able to see the names and forms in the Jagrat Avastha as nothing but Brahman. They are only, it is like going into the gold shop, into the shop where only gold ornaments are there, thousands of them. Let's say you have some big gold shop like that, earrings and toe rings and all those kinds. We've talked about this before. Hand rings and bracelets and necklaces, everything made out of gold, but they all look very different. Similarly, when we awaken out of the Jagrat Avastha, that is where the entire experience of the Jagrat Avastha is seen as Brahman. It is seen as Brahman only. Dogs, cats, trees, plants, houses, birds, this and that. क्या दिखता है? वो इसको ब्रह्म ज्ञानी, ब्रह्म दृष्टि कहते हैं. अभी to reach that, when the 10th bhakti opens up, Prema Bhakti opens up towards Paramatma, the first thing that happens is this, that everything is seen as Brahman. But that's not the end also. The first opening, the higher opening, is that everything is seen as Ishavasya Midam Sarvam. Yes, you see that Bhagwan is existing everywhere. That is one level. And then within that also, there is Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra. I'm everywhere, Bhagwan kehte hai. I'm everywhere. And everything is seen in the light of Paramatma, in the light of Bhakti. But still there is some dualism there. And eventually, even as that Prema Bhakti expands, I mean, it's just there. Everything is seen as God. Even yourself. That's why when the gopis say, Aham Krishna, I am Krishna, they have lost their egoic identification completely, and they are fully absorbed in Sri Krishna to the point where they are saying they themselves are Krishna. ये इसको क्या कहते हैं? इसको प्रेम लक्षणा भक्ति की स्थिति है. While you're living inside this body. See, even Ramakrishna Paramahansa stated, that who was Rama, that who was Krishna, is verily Ram Krishna in here. He's identified. He's lost his body, his egoic consciousness, और वो ऊपर की स्थिति है, बहुत आगे की स्थिति है. But to reach that स्थिति, इसको कहते हैं परमहंस की स्थिति, right? So now, when we are trying to awaken in the waking state, look at it this way. When a bhakta yogi or bhakta, or you can combine them together, a bhakti yogi, one who is combined bhakti and yog means to connect. Gnan, yog, bhakti yog, dhyan, these are just connecting ways to connect. When there is full connection, there is awakening out of the entanglements of the Jagrata Avastha. These are very advanced ideas. These ideas are much 100 times, 1,000 times more advanced than what we talk about in the angel wing programs. Those programs are much more basic compared to all this, right? But anyway, they are also very advanced ideas, but those are foundational to all of this. Now look at this point. To awaken in the Jagrata Avastha, 64 qualities are there. There is no pulling of the vritti towards the objects of the senses. None at all. Panch Vishaya. What are the Panch Vishayas? Shabda, Sparsha, Roop, Ras and Gandha. The five senses are functioning, they're active, but they're functioning and active without rag and dvesha. Rag dvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indriyesharan, as the Gita teaches. They are no longer functioning in raga and dvesha. Most human beings, if not nearly all human beings, except for a few enlightened people, are constantly pulled in raga and dvesha. I like this, but I don't like this. This person is good, this person is bad. This person is higher, this person is lower. ये सब चलता ही है. This object is nice, this object is not. यही सब चलता है. And we are constantly burning our internal shakti by ragadvesha, through ragadvesha. तो हमारी जो आंतरिक शक्ति है, it stops getting burned. It stops getting destroyed when raga and dvesha stop. Raga is what? The attraction. Dvesha is the repulsion. This is called duality that is within the mental framework. When that duality stops, by bhakti, by navdha bhakti, by guru seva, by thousands of approaches, different sampradayas, different paramparas, whatever, get to that point where raga and dvesha stop. Then what happens, and what kind of life is that? It is a life brimming with the joy of devotion, because one has to have joy. Otherwise, if you don't have devotion and raga and dvesha are not there, then you know what that is called? Shushka Jnana, dry Jnana, dry Vairagya, dry Tapasharya. इसका कोई मीनिंग नहीं. इसका क्या मीनिंग क्या है इसका? In Gujarati, in our satsang, we say कि झाड़वापन वैराग्य, झाड़वापन तपश्चर्या करे छे, झाड़वा जेवा ना बनવું. That means don't become like a tree, like a dry tree. That tree is also just standing there and tolerating everything. It's not. There's nothing against a tree. It's just an analogy. You can have vairagya and jnana and all kinds of yogic tapasya. ऐसे भी साधक बन गए. पर भक्ति ही नहीं है जीवन में. किसकी भक्ति करेंगे? ऐसा भी एक विचित्र प्रकार का ज्ञान है. इसको कहते हैं शुष्क वेदांत. इसमें भक्ति ही नहीं है किसी की. भगवान की भक्ति ही नहीं है. तो इसमें से क्या होता है? The result of that ultimately is our deha, our ahankar still exists in that, and it will pop up and throw the jivatma into the cycle of birth and death. That is another subject altogether, about the dangers of shushka vedanta as opposed to shuddha vedanta. इसमें बहुत फर्क है, शुष्क वेदांता and शुद्ध वेदांता. The point is simply that when we are awakening in Jagrat Avastha, we are filled, the bhaktas are brimming with the joy of devotion, not simply some abstract meditative zero state. No, not like that. That how long that will remain anyway, even if there is a zero state. The zero state में से क्या मिलेगा इसमें से? कुछ नहीं है इसमें. I don't want anything, I just want to be in nothingness. So is that desirable? What is the point of nothingness? Shunya. There's no point in that at all. So there is the tattva of Bhagwan, or Bhagwan ka dham, or Bhagwan ki leela, Bhagwan ka aishwarya, Bhagwan ka swarup, Bhagwan ke bhakta. वो जो तत्व है इसमें दृष्टि, we want to इसका अनुभव करना चाहिए. Life is not given by Paramatma just to destroy life or to go to no experience. It's like saying, okay, eyes are there, then why eyes are there, but I don't want to see anything. That's meaningless. Eyes are there so you can see. But Bhagwan कहते हैं कि इसमें जो राग, द्वेष, अहम, ममत्व ये छोड़ दो और देखो सृष्टि को. तो कितना सुंदर जीवन बन जाता है. जहां जुए त्या राम जी बिजू न भासे रे. We look at everywhere, we're looking through the anointed eyes of love. It's a Christian word, anointment. कितनी सुंदर बात है. In Gujarati we say bhakti na rang thi rangai gayulu man ane indriya antakaran rangai gayela. It means that you are filled with the ranga, it's colored with bhakti. Then life reaches its full potentiality. And that awakening in the Jagrat Avastha is of this type, not simply like a zero experience. That zero experience ka use kya hai iska? You can take drugs. You can take heroin. Somebody can take heroin and go to zero experience. Is that enlightenment? So what is the difference between a meditative zero experience and taking heroin? कोई फर्क नहीं है इसमें. In fact, they're both nearly the same experience and they're useless. इसका कोई पॉइंट ही नहीं. इसीलिए भगवान की भक्ति निश्चल रहनी चाहिए, अचल रहनी चाहिए. भगवान की निष्ठा होनी चाहिए. अदरवाइज विल वाइंड अप इन द जीरो एक्सपीरियंस. इफ द साधना टेक्स होल्ड, ज्ञान एंड वैराग्य आ जाता है, भक्ति ही नहीं है इसमें. That should not happen. So the awakening into the Brahman is a doorway into the Bhagavad Dham, and that is where, didn't even begin this actually. That is where this paragraph actually begins, about the metaphysical Sandhini Shakti. Just to open that doorway, all of this background is needed. And even more, we can keep. I'm just trying to find a way to put this in a short way. It's very, very, very extensive to be able to awaken in the waking state. I'll mention two more points. If through Prem-Lakshana Bhakti, Jnana Vairagya supports, we awaken into that Bhakti, then the Swapna Avastha vanishes. Most of it goes away. The only thing that remains in Swapna Avastha, Bhagwan Swayam aate hai Swapna Avastha mein. This is written in Vachanamrut also. Do we go through 3 avasthas every day? Yes. Swapna Avastha is a massive prison. This is Sachin's commentary. It is a prison within which the whole of humanity is trapped. Or the Jivatma that is in the Jagrat Avastha, Swapna and Shushupti, iske 3 naam hai. There are 3 names. One is called so in the Swapna Avastha it is called Tejas Abhimani. Tejas Abhimani means Jivatma has the Abhiman that this Swapna Avastha is me. Ye Upanishad ka terminology hai, and this is referenced in Sarangpur number 6 Vachanamrut. So there is Tejas Abhimani. There is there's 2 more words, they slip my mind right now. But there's 3 Abhimans like this. Abhiman of the Jagrat Avastha, Abhiman of the Swapna Avastha, Abhiman of the Shushupti Avastha. I'll look them up and I'll let you know tomorrow. इसको 3 प्रकार का अभिमान, इसको अभिमानी जीव कहते हैं. Abhiman doesn't mean like how we are, we're egotistical person. वो तो एक, that is just another aspect of that. Abhiman of the avastha, that this avastha is me and it's mine. Pragna Abhimani, Tejas Abhimani. And then there's another word for the Shushupti Avastha. It's really amazing. So that Abhiman goes away. The Abhiman meaning the I-ness, the oneness, that this is me, of the 3 avasthas vanishes, and the Atman is me. Aham Atma, Aham Brahmasmi. Ye Abhiman aa jata hai. This is not Abhiman like our ego Abhiman. The Ahankar vanishes from the 3 states, 3 bodies, 3 avasthas, and enters into the Atman and Paramatma. And that entrance is facilitated by Navda Bhakti. And once the 10th Bhakti opens up, Paramatma Swayam ye 3 avastha mein aa jate hain. But these are, I don't know where to stop. This is we need like 10, 15, 30, 50 hours. I don't know. We need a lot of time to really understand these things. This is how this evolution happens out of the Vishwabhimani. See, Vishwabhimani is a Jagrat Avastha. Tejas Abhimani is the Swapna Avastha. And there's another word for, I think maybe it's Pragna Abhimani. There's some word for it. It slips my mind. For the Shushupti Avastha. Ye Upanishad ka gyan hai. And that's amazing discovery of the rishis, how the Abhiman is there of the Avasthas themselves. Of the avasthas, the gunas, the 3 gunas of Maya and the 3 bodies. When we awaken out of this, that is a Paramahansa. And in that awakened state, to worship Sri Krishna Paramatma without any deflection, iska point hai, Shikshapatri verse 116, Nija Atmanam Brahma Rupam Dehatraya Vilakshanam Vibhavetena Kartavya Bhakti Krishna se sarvada Sri Krishnam tvam gatir mama. वो अष्टाक्षर मंत्र. See, this is the point. ब्रह्म भाव में भगवान की भक्ति करनी, ब्रह्म रूप थईने पर ब्रह्मनी भक्ति करवी, अक्षर रूप थईने पुरुषोत्तमनी भक्ति करवी, राधा रूप थईने कृष्णनी भक्ति करवी. Let's stop here for now. It's already 8:45. Thank you all so much. Om Dhyan Mulam Gurur Murti Mantra Mulam Gurur Vakyam Puja Mulam Gurur Padam Moksha Mulam Gurur Krupa Tameva Mata Chapita Tameva Bandusha Sakha Tameva Vidya Dravinam Tameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha Vamayasya Sita Radha Shri Shayasya Asti Vakshasi Vrindavana Viharam Tam Sri Krishnam Rudichinte Om Aim Reem Kleem चामुंडाये विच्चे स्वाहा दुर्गे दुर्गे रक्षिणी ठा ठा स्वाहा. श्री दुर्गार्पणमस्तु. ओम श्री राधा कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. ओम श्री सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः. ओम ह्रीं